This is a short video to explain the purpose of the decision-making assignment. And I've opened this document from your web assignment. Basically, the purpose of this is to gain some perspective about how decisions are generally made in schools. So, for example, if people start new reading programs, new math programs, the advent of RTI, investing in C-scope, we are trying to determine the decision-making process that currently exists on this. So what you need to do is you need to set up a time to meet with a person, probably the principal in your school, who makes decisions about programs. It might be a curriculum specialist, some kind of math specialist. That part doesn't really matter. You can kind of choose whatever you're interested in and whatever's convenient for you. But here's the things that you have to get at, and it's you have to describe the background behind the issue. Why was the issue important? How was the information gathered about the problem? In other words, how did they know that it was an important issue? Where did they get that information from? For example, with curriculum. Why, if we're going to use C-scope, what was the issue that we had with our existing curriculum? How did we know that that was an issue? Second, what process was used to determine the solution of the problem? From what sources was information gathered, who was involved, and why were they involved, and what factors were weighed most heavily in the decision. So, for example, with C-scope, why was C-scope the option that was chosen? Who helped make that decision? Why were those people involved in that decision? And if C-scope was going to be the option that was chosen, what factors weighed most in that? What did they know about C-scope to determine that? If we're looking at a math program, why was that math program used? What is it that we knew about that math program? Once that the solution was identified, how was it implemented? Who was involved in the implementation? Why were they involved in it? Then go on to how are we going to know that this will work? Again, for example, with the C-scope, how do we know that C-scope's going to do what we thought it was going to do? Who is gathering the information to determine that? How was or how will the data be processed? If this something has not happened yet, how are they gathering this information up? How are they going to process it? What information are they going to gather and determine whether or not it's made the intended change that they hoped that it would make? And how are the constituents informed about the cycle? And what I mean by that is not only the parents, but also the people in the schools that are doing this. How are they involved in it? How are they going to be notified of the results of it? Now, once that information is gathered, you need to put it together as a paper. This isn't a long paper, a couple of pages at most. The last section is going to be an evaluation by you regarding the decision-making process. This will include an opinion about the validity of the process described. I'm going to hazard a guess that very often this type of issue is done by word of mouth. We have a problem that we think exists. We don't really have any evidence to determine that it exists. So we find out what other people are doing and implement that. Then we don't really ever wait to determine whether or not that information or whether or not that solution works. We don't have a way of determining whether or not it works. And even if we do have a way of doing that, we don't do a good job of it. We don't ever make a scientific determination. And think back about the video. If you've not watched the video about science versus social science, you need to do that right now, because there's a difference between being able to take a guess at something and really knowing that a difference exists. So write all this information up, save it on a Word document, and turn that Word document back in to the assignment page. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to use WebCT or Blackboard, please call me or email me so that we can make sure that you understand how to do that before it's due. That assignment is due January 30th at midnight. So this is a quick turnaround on this, but we need to get this out of the way so we can better understand the purpose of this course. Email if you have any questions.